Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Spunkify here for MMOBomb.com, and welcome to a gameplay action video for the latest map to be added to Infinite Crisis. Now, Infinite Crisis is, of course, the DC Universe-inspired MOBA by Turbine, and Turbine recently invited me to go check it out with them, play a couple games with them, and sort of see what's different. Many of you who have checked out my first impression video for MMOBomb on Infinite Crisis, I've already made mention that it looked similar to Dominion, and the developers of Turbine were really aware of this, and they in fact said that that map in particular was meant to be sort of like their testing map, you know, try to get their sea legs, if you will. Coastal City sort of represents one of the maps that are more focused in direction towards what they want to actually achieve overall. And in fact, Turbine has made mention that they want to have multiple maps of different types that aren't just sort of the standard Dominion style or League of Legends, you know, tri-lane style, etc. And Coastal City is one of those versions. It does have a normal laning phase. It does have a jungle, which in fact is where we're going right now in order to, I believe, start Catwoman is who's going to jungle. And you've got creeps and, you know, super weapons or super abilities, etc. like that. And we're going to talk about all of that. But there is a lot of sort of unique aspects to the game as well, although some of it is very familiar. So right here, she used one of her, Electro Leo used one of his stolen powers. They aren't guessed like Catwoman to lay down a ward early on. You get stolen powers like, for example, I've got 3 traps that I can place down after a short cooldown. They just kind of root people in place. And then my F is basically like Ghost, it's super speed, I can run around. So the way this works, of course, is we're not going to quite tether the minion, but deal damage to it, sort of get him started. And he can work his way across the map and go to those different areas. And they have hard camps and weak camps like you do in any other MOBA. So I'm going to be headed up here top. Now, you don't always run a jungler like you would in, say, League of Legends. It's somewhat like Dota 2 in the fact that you can run a jungler, but oftentimes people also will run a tri-lane or maybe a roaming lane or roaming individual, and that's for the simple fact that there's only 2 lanes of action going on, of drones actually moving back and forth. Now, beyond sort of the obvious layout differences, there's going to be some differences in how the game mechanics work. So there are 3 different areas on the map that have these like capturable points, and 2 of these unlock at a certain time. You'll notice there's sort of like this timeline bar above or right below the time at the top that sort of ticks down, and eventually you'll see sort of like these diamonds show up on it, and those sort of let you know when certain things are going to come off cooldown or become available. These 2 pads, once you stand on them for a certain amount of time, by the way, there is an example of destructibility. You notice that tank took damage, sort of crumpled in a bit. You'll see bigger examples of this as we continue on. Destructibility is one of the biggest things that Infinite Crisis sort of touts, being able to like change routes and make new terrain and sort of have the battleground sort of decay over time due to all the damage. And this is true to some extent, and we'll show the case that later on. But as I was saying, these points, by capturing these points, they increase the drone damage per each. So if you capture 1, you get an increase in drone damage. And then if you capture 2, you get, I believe, bigger drones or more powerful drones in the bottom lane. Capture 3, and you get bigger drones or more powerful drones in top and bottom. So right here, these are very important. These need to be captured all the time because it applies passive pressure to each lane. So it allows you to push minions out, and in fact, if you allow the enemy to capture all the relays, they will have a very, very strong sort of like super minion, almost like lane for them to push with. So it's very important that you try to contest those as much as possible. I guess sort of similar to the little shrines available in Twisted Treeline League of Legends. So here's a little engagement we have. Again, the battles themselves, I have to say one of the better things of Infinite Crisis is the sound. Oftentimes as you move away and you get farther, you can kind of hear off in the distance what's exactly going on there. I placed a little trap, saved my friend, GG. I'm so much of a good support / AD carry. They're called marksmen in Infinite Crisis. But there, right there, you notice that it said the Doomsday device activated. So that is sort of like an extra sort of super buff, if you will. You know, League of Legends, Dota, they have Roshan, they have Baron. This is a Doomsday device. So as you can see here, we're trying to capture this point, and then we're going to kind of move towards the Doomsday. I myself, being a good AD carry, I'm going to get myself some couple kills, get fed, what have you. And after you capture these points, they go on lockdown for a small amount of time. This guy does not know what he's in for. Although, dropping a jet on my face will do wonders to you, and I do indeed get taken out. So the Doomsday device, like Baron or Roshan, you actually have to attack it. It does attack back. It looks somewhat like a turret. And then after you've killed it, you actually get an item that drops. Now, unlike, say, League of Legends or Dota 2, where when you kill it, you get a passive buff that stays on you until you die, this is an item that actually has to be activated and does a large AoE-based amount of damage. The activation itself can also destroy nearby buildings, including towers. So not only is it offensive to use in team fights, but if you want to use it to push a lane very quickly, you could do massive amounts of damage to a tower in very quick time. You know, basically a huge AoE. So right here we're contesting the third point at the top. This is what would give us the better drones. I believe we already captured the bottom two. So this third one here, if we actually get it, will basically mean a huge push for us, either bottom or top, whichever we just choose to go. But unfortunately for me, Gaslight Joker is going to show up, so I have to run away. And that's sort of the thing that was sort of overall the theme of this map. There's going to be a lot of contesting. It's really an emphasis on team fights. There is a laning phase. It is important. It's not simply like Dominion where you just passively get gold. You do start at level 1 and you can only have one item, or, you know, to actually work with. So there's things like that to consider. One thing I needed to mention there, in that area where you notice we took the Doomsday device, there are, as you can see, Humvees on the side. Now, if you have like the consume matter or the ability to throw like super strength in order to throw those vehicles, you can throw the vehicle, get rid of it, and have a new entry point into the Doomsday device. So that's sort of like using the terrain to sort of alter it in order for you to gain access to pathways that you beforehand couldn't get access to. The old map had meteors that came down that basically would create craters and block entries, etc. So here's an example again. We killed the Green Lantern, and by doing so I was able to then pick up the device after a short cooldown, and look at how much damage it did there to, what is his name? Big Stompy Dude. Can't quite remember his name there. But it does a lot of damage, and if I was near a turret or near any buildings, it would kill them as well. And this guy here, he is so slippery. The people we were playing with the developers and with some of the press, and what we were playing, we queued and we got matched up against sort of some of the better players in Infinite Crisis. Some of the streamers, if you will, they instantly were recognized by the developers. So I thought for sure we were going to lose, but we were actually holding our own. Early game, we had a lot of issues, but they didn't really have a ranged carry like we did as Cyborg here. And Cyborg's got a lot of sort of attack speed, steroids, damage steroids, and he does really good against people with a lot of HP due to his passive, which actually does damage. Now, the one thing right there I wanted you to make, see rather, is the fact that I sent off the Doomsday device after a short amount of time. There's actually a cap to how long you can hold it. It's not like you can hold it infinitely, like 10 minutes. You only get about a minute before it automatically goes off. So it sort of forces you to make a push, or forces you to, you know, waste it essentially, which I think is really nice, because if you're not really in a position to make a push, then it's sort of wasted if you actually go in there and take it down, because then it's just going to go off and no one's around, and you don't do any damage with it, and you have to wait a pretty long cooldown for it to come back up here. So here's our team fight here. As you can see, we're making pretty good work killing off them quite easily. Going to get a double kill here, and I think I'm going to get away. He actually pushes me out of the way, which is great. And I almost get a triple kill, you know, just carrying the team so heavy, but not quite. However, we are going to end up winning this game. So overall, Coastal City does have enough new, refreshing elements. I think if you do enjoy sort of that sort of laning experience, but do want sort of other objectives to go for, then I'd certainly say, yeah, definitely take a look at Coastal City. It marks a huge improvement over their initial map, even if it does still have some similar aspects to other MOBAs. Overall, that's been my impressions of it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I believe Coastal City will be available shortly if you're in the closed beta. But we shall see you next time here on MMOBomb. Spunkify out. Later, guys.